Good Saturday evening to you all. I'm Andrew Schnitker in the KXAN Live Studios. It is election day in Central Texas, and we're going to be breaking down all of your needs for the propositions throughout Central Texas for the next hour. From 7 to 8 o'clock, we'll be bringing in experts and all sorts of other insiders to break down the election that happened throughout the last week and a half. Now, there are 8 different props in Austin. There's also several in Jarrell, Liberty Hill, Hays County, and of course Georgetown as well. But really, the main focus throughout this election period has been on one proposition. And for that, I'm bringing in Kevin Clark, Proposition B. It's been a back and forth kind of contest with lots of heated opinions on both sides. Just for our viewers, explain Proposition B and what's at stake here.
Well, Andrew, you're right. I mean, this is really the one that has gotten people out to the polls, with all respect to the other propositions. I mean, this is the one that you see the billboards around town, the yard signs, the real get out the vote canvassing efforts. What Prop B does is, if it passes, it reintroduces the public camping ban that council lifted nearly 2 years ago. That previous ban had been in effect for 23 years, and many people are looking at this election as kind of a maybe an indictment on that council decision a couple of years ago, people getting to actually weigh in for the first time at the polls about this issue. If Prop B does pass, though, it would create a criminal penalty for public camping in most places in Austin that would be punishable by a fine if it's not complied with immediately. People have looked and grown really concerned about the growing number of visible tent cities in public spaces in Austin. It's not hard to drive around and see them. You see them under overpasses. You see them in public spaces. A lot of people are concerned about their location being on the hike and bike trail where people are trying to exercise. And on the other side, there is concern about what will happen to these individuals should the ban take effect once again. A lot of people on the other side that are against the ban are concerned that this will simply drive those individuals experiencing homelessness back into the woods and to places where they may not be able to easily get services, care, access to housing, stuff like that. Now, Andrew, this has been driven predominantly on the pro-Prop B side, the side that wants to bring back the camping ban, on a real grassroots effort. Large numbers of spending, close to $1.5 million that was donated to the Save Austin Now PAC. And with that said, we're going to bring in one of the co-founders, one of the founders of the Save Austin Now PAC. He is Matt Makoviak. Matt, can you hear us? Matt, great. How are you feeling at this time as results are coming in?
Yeah, we're thrilled. It's pretty clear that this is over and that we won, unless the Prop B opponents somehow won 80 or 90% of the votes today. I think there were about 56,000 votes cast today. So given the raw vote lead that we have, this is basically over. We're excited that a very, very strong majority of the votes that were cast during the early vote period over 8 days showed, I think, a 64-36% win for us. Look, this is a clear message to the mayor and to the city council, with the notable exception of Mackenzie Kelly, that this city does not like the direction that things are going, that they want to restore public safety, they want to restore public health, they want to save our city parks, they want our major intersections to going back to being clean and effective, and not trashed. They want our downtown to be somewhere where people can go out, where they can go to dinner, where they can go out for drinks, where they can go shopping. They want Town Lake to return to the special place it was. And most of all, we all want to see solutions for our homeless. We want to see them in sheltered and safe environments. That's not what they're doing. Over the last 2 years, the city wasted $161 million. We've called for an audit. We hope that now happens. And we want to make sure that they follow successful models like Haven for Hope, Community First Village, Camp Esperanza, not failed models like what we've seen in Los Angeles and San Francisco. This is an amazing victory for the tens of thousands of people who stood up and fought against 9 of the 10 members of the city council and our mayor, most of our media here in Austin, a lot of left-wing groups, and really the lies that they were trying to tell about our effort. This is a tremendous victory, and we couldn't be more proud.
What lies are they telling about the effort? If you could just speak to that, because I think it's important to hear that from you.
Well, yeah, number one, they've tried to pretend this is some kind of Republican group because one of the two people involved who've co-founded it, who's helping lead it, is a Republican. My co-founder, Cleo Petrisek, is a full-blooded Democrat. She hates Donald Trump with almost everything she has. She's hosted Democratic events in her house. She has taken care of refugees and homeless individuals in her home, held them in her home. She's a full-blooded Democrat, and she would not be involved in this for 1 second if she thought this was some kind of one-sided partisan effort. The opponents of Prop B tried to use the playbook they've used time and time and time again. It didn't work in this case because the majority of Austinites felt like this policy was destroying our city. And unfortunately, the mayor and Greg Casar and the other members of the city didn't want to see that. They wanted to pretend it didn't exist. They wanted to pretend the visual evidence that we all see every day, every neighborhood, every city park, every intersection. They wanted to pretend that evidence wasn't there. And over the last 10 days or so, as the voting has been going on, a majority of the city stood up and said, I'm sorry, you're wrong. We're going to fix your mess. You refuse to fix it yourself. We're going to go back to where we were, reinstating the camping ban. Look, a camping ordinance has never succeeded anywhere it's ever been tried in the United States. We tried it here for 2 years. It failed terribly. And this is a wake-up call for Steve Adler and Greg Casar. They owe the people of Austin an apology for the damage they've done to our city. I'm not going to hold my breath.
Matt, we had talked the other day, and you showed me some, and you guys have done a lot of polling, internal polling at Save Austin Now, but following the last day of early voting, things were very close. And as we're waiting for numbers to come in, you're very confident about this on the Save Austin Now pro-Prop B side. And actually, were we seeing some numbers, Andrew, right now?
Yep.
I'm actually seeing this, so this would reflect early voting, is that right? So we're looking at 63% for Prop B, 37% against. Does that even surpass the expectations you had?
Yeah, I predicted on Twitter right before the polls came out that we're going to end up at 60-40. It may end up being better than that. It may be around that. We'll see. We'll see what happened today on Election Day. You had pretty good weather the first 4 or 5 hours, and then you had hard rain in the afternoon. Look, we have a 25,000 raw vote lead after the early vote has come in. We know there are only 56,000 votes cast today, so they would have had to win probably 80% of the Election Day votes, and that simply isn't going to happen. In fact, I'll make a prediction right here. I think there's a pretty decent chance we won Election Day. And I can tell you, based on historical patterns in 2017 and 2019, the odds that the issue that the Democrats are kind of on one side on, not winning Election Day is not something that often happens. Look, at the end of the day, we believe we won 40% of votes from Democrats. We believe we won almost 90% of votes from unaffiliated or independent voters. And we think we won 92 or 94% of the votes from Republicans. That's what our data showed. This is a bipartisan coalition. This is an army for the future of the city. We are going to take this city back. This is not about right wing or left wing. It's about standard of living. It's about making Austin a place you can live, work, and raise a family in. And unfortunately, our city council has done several things over the last 2 years that have made it harder and worse to live here. That's unconscionable. And we have an army now that is going to stand up and is going to fight. This is the first fight. We have other fights in the future we are going to launch. And we're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger over time because people are fed up with the direction the city's going. And we're going to be here fighting that fight for them.
Matt, since you brought that up, please talk about that. And I guess I just wanted to ask you: is this vote that you're seeing and these initial results that are coming in? Again, we're looking at them again: 63% for, 37% against Prop B. All of the votes are not counted. We can actually see 58% into this point. But Matt, is this an indictment on the city council's decision to get rid of the camping ban, or is this actually a coalition that you all are building?
This city that voted are sending a clear signal that this policy has been damaging our city. It's made public safety worse, it's made public health worse, it's affected our city parks, it's affected our tourism, it's affected almost every small business, it's affected every restaurant, every hotel, every apartment building, every condo building, every major intersection. I mean, at some point, it's kind of like, what is the argument even for continuing this insane policy that's never worked anywhere it's been tried? And look, we all have compassion for the homeless. We're not anti-homeless, we're anti-camping. Camping is a behavior. Camping converts a public space into a private use. It's no longer available for the public. We want public spaces available for the public. And most of all, we want the city to finally provide effective, accountable, efficient, transparent, affordable, I think I said affordable twice, solutions for the homeless. We want them in a centralized encampment like we have with Haven for Hope in San Antonio. And we want more facilities like Community First Village and like Camp Esperanza that have been successful with tiny homes and micro homes. Those are the models that we know work. Those models are not really in this new plan that the mayor has rolled out. He wants to double down on failure. We're not going to sit by and let him do that. We're going to show that when they go a direction that makes life in this city worse, we're going to bring that fight right to them. And so I'll ask everyone out there watching, join us, saveaustinnow.com. Join us tonight. Support us in this work. We're going to continue to fight for standard of living for people who live here to make sure that Austin remains a great place to live, work, and raise a family.
Matt, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We will keep up with you as results continue to come in tonight, but thank you again for your time.
Take care. Thank you.
That is Matt Makoviak. He is the co-founder of Save Austin Now PAC, and as Andrew pulled up on the screen just a little while ago, with 58% of the vote in, Prop B has a substantial lead. Real quick, just want to touch on the arguments for anti-Prop B. Some of those advocates, largely driven by the Homes Not Handcuffs PAC. Mayor Adler, also one of those individuals who is opposed to Prop B. Many of them feel it doesn't actually help individuals experiencing homelessness. Again, that it will drive them deeper into the woods where it will become more difficult to access services. They say it's a moral issue, and saddling these individuals for citations will make it even harder for them to get IDs. They'll be in the criminal system. They won't be able to get housing and other services. We'll keep up with you all on this, and we'll continue to bring you updates, and including speak with the Homes Not Handcuffed side. But for now, yeah, things looking pretty good for the Prop B side, Andrew.
Yes, and I just wanted to get back to those numbers pretty quick here to take another look if you didn't catch it right off the top. For 63%, 58% of the vote is in. Now, we did talk about that early voting. There was about 104,000 people voted early in this election, and latest numbers going in around 5:15, we had 56,000 people voted just today in the area, and also getting more numbers coming in. So bear with me as these numbers come in quickly to KXAN. Let's go back and reassess here where we're at. Now, we've got 8 different props in the Austin City elections. Prop B, which is what we've been discussing for the last 13 minutes, is by far the one that's received the most attention, but there's plenty of other important propositions out here. Prop F has also received quite a bit of attention as well. And I do want to bring in John Engel to kind of talk about this and give us exactly what we're looking at with Prop F, which has kind of been seen as the second focus of this election.
Yeah, that's right, Andrew. So Prop F, we're talking about the strong mayor proposition. What this deals with is completely changing the structure of government in Austin from what is currently a city manager council format to a strong mayor council format. That means that the chief executive in the city would be an elected person, the mayor, who would then be accountable to the voters. So goes the thinking. And so this was, I think, a big deal for the city of Austin, but did not receive the fanfare that, of course, Proposition B did, because for a number of things. Proposition B is a very emotional topic around how we address those experiencing homelessness in the city, but it's also much easier to communicate, Andrew. I mean, on a yard sign, on a billboard, you see Prop B and you see camping ban, and you get it. It makes sense. Strong mayor can be difficult to understand, and even leading up into this broadcast, we questioned whether this would be one of the propositions or items that someone skips over because they just don't get it. We're going to get into the early voting results here in just a second, Andrew, but I think they're going to tell us that people did not skip over this item. They knew what they were voting for because it was a mixed bag for the other propositions that the group behind Strong Mayor was pushing. Some of the other ones appear to have been successful, and Strong Mayor looks like it's struggling to this point. I know we were going to go in a different order, but do we have the Strong Mayor results?
Yeah, that's what if you want to go.
Let's go that direction, Andrew, and just pull those up.
We don't have the graphic, but we're just getting the feed in, so
yeah.
If you want to write them down. We
sure.
have Proposition F, 12,443.4, that's 13%. 81,419 against, 87% estimated. 52% of the vote is currently in.
87% of the early vote is against the strong mayor proposition, a very wide margin. And on that note, I want to go to, I believe we have Nico Ramsey waiting. He is from Austin for All People, the group that formed to fight against the strong mayor proposition. Again, the group that was behind the strong mayor proposition, Austinites for All People, we did also invite them to be part of this broadcast. We invited them last week. They declined to participate in this, but we do want to talk to Nico real quickly. Nico, I want to hear your early reaction to that early vote in Travis County, 86% against the strong mayor proposition. Your thoughts there as we get these first results?
You know, it's still too early, but as for Austin for All People, we're very excited by these results. You know, we fully believe that our current form of government works for Austin, and we believe that we educate the public on just that. So, you know, like you said, 86% still people, if you're in line, continue to vote. But yeah, we're feeling good.
Yeah, and you're hedging your bet a little bit with it's still early. 66,000 votes is a lot in any election, especially a city one where historically we do not see the turnout that we do in other elections. So I completely respect your response there, but that is a wide margin. And to your campaign's credit, you should feel happy about where you are right now, even with so much time to go with Election Day of voting left to count here. Explain to those watching right now at home, I know the story of why you got involved, but why did your organization, Austin for All People, form on just one proposition? You didn't get involved on B, which, as we mentioned, had so much to do with emotions in this city and the camping ban, and you didn't get involved in any of the others. Why just the strong mayor proposal? What galvanized you to form?
Well, it's because with any situation or issue that we have in our city, our form of government is the most important fallback that we have. And ensuring that representation throughout our city, no matter what zip code, ensures that the issues that are so important in our community, we can find solutions, that we make sure every voice is heard. Another reason is because this issue transcends, I mean, if you look at the big coalition, you know, I know that we've talked about this before, but the big coalition of not just a Democrat issue or Republican issue, but you have people working together on all fronts, from labor to business, that really you would never see working otherwise. So this is so important to whatever issue is going to be on ballots in the future, or what we want to achieve as a community. Our form of government and the way that we can execute it and really find the solutions reside in our form of government that we have. And again, 10-1, what we have right now, we believe works for us and all of Austin.
And as I mentioned, the other side, Austinites for Progressive Reform, is not here to talk to us about this right now. So I do kind of want to play devil's advocate, and we've done this before. I've interviewed you before. We did the town hall a couple of weeks ago. But the argument for Proposition F is that the individual who is the chief executive of the city should be directly accountable to voters, should have that connection to voters that the city manager does not currently have. And we're frequently talking about the transition that Austin is in as one of the largest cities in America. We know that if the strong mayor proposition was approved, that would be 13 of 20 largest cities in the country that use the strong mayor format. We know that the top 6 are strong mayor structured. Why is it not the right time for Austin, in its progression into one of these major metros of our country, to move in this direction as so many others have?
Well, to put it bluntly, you know, we're Austin. We're not other cities. The reason why we have seen great success, and while no form of government is perfect, the city of Austin has seen great success as far as not businesses, you know, businesses coming here, but they're expanding here. We're consistently on the top of lists of best places to live. And that's not by mistake, right? We have an administrative professional who knows how to run a city in the form of a city manager that also is a hire by the council who we elect. So the people we elect to represent our districts, we elect them to make decisions on our behalf, right? So, you know, to try and compare us to other cities, well, you know, we are unique And we are successful because we don't compare ourselves to other cities. So why would we change a form of government when we know this works for us?
Nico, I appreciate you for joining our broadcast this evening as we're making our way through the results. As you said, it is early. We are just working off of the early voting numbers, but the against crowd for Proposition F does have a 66,000 vote lead over 4. We're looking ahead to some of the other propositions, and I know that Austin for All People did not get involved in the other propositions. It would have gotten even trickier if some of the others did pass with the addition of another council seat. We could have maybe gotten a stalemate on the council and some gridlock there. Were you keeping an eye on those things? I know that wasn't what you were weighing in on, but were you at all concerned about the proposition to add another seat in the event that this strong mayor did fail and there could be some challenges for the council?
You know, at the end of the day, the answer is no. But because we knew that this was the most important of their set of propositions that they were putting forward, we can find solutions on how to make other parts of this work in the forms of the other amendments that they put forward. But the one crucial one, and you know, debatably the one that was put there, should our form of government had changed, it would have been a lot harder to get things done in the city. So while we weren't paying attention to it, we knew that we could at least work with the other amendments.
Awesome. Nico Ramsey with Austin for All People, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know we'll be talking to you a little bit more as the evening goes on, but the early voting numbers are just in. 86% against Proposition F, the strong mayor proposal, 13% for. Nico Ramsey, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we've got more numbers coming in, but I just wanted to give you the chance to put that into perspective.
Yeah, please do. And you know, Nico, as I said, is hedging his bets a little bit, but I'm sure he's pleased to see the early return on the early voting numbers with the 86%. I wasn't expecting the margin to be that great, candidly, Andrew. I figured that this was going to be one of those propositions that is difficult for a voter to understand, even though, and you know, the caveat on all this, I know that the Austin voter is very engaged. They are very involved in the process. They're very educated and intelligent, unlike a lot of places that I have worked and covered. But this one has so much nuance, and changing a city government, there's a lot that goes into that. And I figured that maybe it would be grouped in some of those other propositions that are difficult to understand and maybe you skip over. But this margin, even for just the early voting numbers, does stand out. A 66,000 vote differential, I mean, can't be overlooked. It's a big deal.
I wanted to point everyone to, obviously, our website, kxan.com. We have up to the minute numbers coming in. You can even see it just passed by, but 7-11 was the last time these numbers were updated. We're getting them in as quickly as we can, but there's plenty of other opportunities to find out exactly what's going on in Central Texas tonight as we go through this election night. So hit up this live blog if you have any questions, or give us a shout to answer those questions as well. Just looking at some of these other numbers that are coming in, let's see here. We went through Prop B again. That just to update again. That's 64% for Prop B, 34,720. That's 36% against. Looking at that, sometimes I think even the wording of Prop B, people weren't even sure. Okay, am I voting for something? What am I voting for? What am I voting against? Kind of explain what those numbers and the early voting means in Prop B.
Well, and I can see why someone may think that, but that goes back to what we talked about with Kevin and Matt Makoviak and the Save Austin Now PAC. They were very organized and they were very deliberate in their campaign to reinstate the camping ban. There's no two ways about it. They got in early. They were very clear in their messaging that this was solely about the camping ban and solely about public camping of those experiencing homelessness. I don't think there were a lot of questions about what their mission is, and you can disagree with the motives and the outcome and where we're going as a city, but that side was very organized early on. We often thought about the opposition, what Homes Not Handcuffs, and how they were approaching this. The money was with Save Austin Now. They had the money for the billboards. They had the money for the media outreach and for the yard signs. It's hard to have not come in contact in one way or another with this campaign over the last year. They've been very involved. And with the strong mayor, I mean, we were just going through it. There have been two very clear groups for and against the strong mayor proposition, but it pales in comparison to what we saw from Proposition B. And you're looking at the numbers right now. Again, just an incredible margin. The latest number on Proposition F, the strong mayor proposal, 87% against. So that's including some of the election day numbers as well, I believe, Andrew, because yes, that's an update from the early voting numbers that we saw. 12,000 people for the strong mayor proposal. Pretty amazing to see early on such a big differential. Again, I'll say it again because I really thought that this could be overlooked because it has so much nuance and so many challenges to understand. People knew what they were voting for with Proposition F. It's clear with a total like this. This was not a skip over proposition. People knew why they were turning out. I think B, the camping ban, got a lot of people to the polls, and they also clearly felt passionately about Proposition F as well.
And we've got new numbers with Hays County, those numbers included as well for Proposition F. No real change to the numbers. It's still holding steady, 87%, 13% for Prop F. Let's go back to, with that, what happens now with Proposition F if the numbers stay as they are right now?
Well, if they stay the way they are, nothing changes. Yep. Yeah, we were looking at a lot of the contingency plans. Frankly, I wrote a whole story for 9 and 10 o'clock about what's next for Proposition F because you kicked the city manager out. Well, it appears early on that you didn't, so nothing happens. Spencer Cronk keeps his job, and we had looked at the alternative scenario that was after the November 2022 election, then that mayor would have become the chief executive in 2023, would not have impacted current Austin Mayor Steve Adler. But all of those things don't matter now because voters appear to be resoundingly rejecting Proposition F, the strong mayor proposal. And again, we wait to see what the election day totals are. Andrew, we wait to see what the impact of weather and rain has been on turnout. But these margins, even for early voting, they're stark. And they could narrow with time throughout the evening, and we'll watch them and we'll continue to update them. But especially on Proposition F, 70,000 votes is very difficult to overcome in any election, even the big ones, not just a city election with lower turnout.
And we will get back to Proposition B and F throughout the next 30 minutes or so, but I did want to go over just a couple of the other numbers that are coming in for some of the other propositions that we're getting. Of course, I'm just going to go to our live blog and check this out to see, hey, there you are, right there. Look at us, right there. It's Inception, right there in it. Election results, click right there and you can find everything you need. Proposition A for Austin city elections, that's to amend the city charter to require the option of binding arbitration in labor negotiations between the city and firefighters union. That is 80% for, 20% against. That's all early voting or mostly early voting. Actually, no, I want to clarify, that's all early voting so far. Proposition C is to transfer the oversight of the Office of Police Oversight from the city manager to city council. That is 57% for and 43% against. More to go through here. Prop D, change the date of mayoral elections to presidential election years to provide a little bit more clarity there. That is 63% for and then 37% against in that one. Kevin, if you're ready, if you want to hop back in. We were bouncing back and forth. I wanted to make sure that we hit both sides of Prop B. We talked to Matt with Save Austin Now, but I wanted to make sure that we got both sides of the spectrum when we talked about this, even with the early voting numbers coming in. So if you could, just give us the other side to what Matt was discussing there.
Well, that's right. We will hear from likely Mayor Steve Adler soon, as well as the individuals that are on that side, Homes Not Handcuffs, one of the big organizations and the primary PAC that was opposing Prop B, but these are people that, and obviously if Prop B did not pass, things would pretty much stay the same. They would stay as they were. But individuals like Mayor Adler, who donated about $10,000 of his own money to the Homes Not Handcuffs PAC, these people have talked about how it's a moral issue for individuals experiencing homelessness. Are we going to place this public camping ban on them? And their thought is this will only push them deeper and deeper into the woods, where they're less likely to get services, they're less likely to get housing, case management, etc. And they're also concerned that this will saddle individuals that are experiencing homelessness with citations and fines that they cannot afford to pay. You're actually looking at, that looks like Julie Oliver right there, from a rally this morning. Homes Not Handcuffs, you've seen several of those signs out there. You're looking at Mayor Steve Adler speak, as well as several others. And there was definitely an urgency on this side of the campaign too. I went along with several of the Homes Not Handcuffs folks in the last few weeks as they went knocking on doors in a central Austin neighborhood, and they just talked about the sense of urgency to make sure that people have a plan to get out there and vote. And I understand, I mean, there were some questions about what Election Day results would look like. We're still waiting on those Election Day results to come in, whether or not the rain affected that and how much. But the fact of the matter is that Prop B has a, yes on Prop B has a very big lead right now, as we have 58% of the vote in. Now, just a couple numbers I want to provide. You're continuing to look at Homes Not Handcuffs, the Homes Not Handcuffs rally from earlier. But I also did want to bring up the numbers because we hadn't touched on them. The financials for Save Austin Now, the PAC co-founded by Matt Makoviak, who was on a little bit earlier. You saw it's raised, Makoviak says, about $1.5 million in this effort. Numbers show in the campaign financial disclosures about $1.25 million, but that was as of April 21st. So there, more money could have come in. But just to provide some perspective on that, the PAC Mobility for All, which was the one who was pushing for Austin's multi-billion-dollar transit plan last year, known as Project Connect, in last year's election, they raised about $1.3 million ahead of last year's election. So this very well effort from Save Austin Now looks like it will be more. You heard from Makoviak. He feels like they are building a coalition. They're building something more than just backlash to the city council's decision to get rid of the camping ban. We've talked with several of those individuals, many volunteers. Makoviak says he's had hundreds of volunteers working on this from the inception of the PAC to before that, when they were getting signatures and trying to get this on the ballot. This is the second time that they've tried to get this on the ballot. This time they did so successfully. Last year, they were not able to get enough valid signatures to get on the ballot, but as you heard from Matt Makoviak a little while ago, this probably feels like a lot of a vindication for a lot of voters if things stay the way they are. A lot of people very concerned about the direction that Austin's going. They look around, maybe people coming out of sheltering in place in the last couple of years. They've come out and seen this extraordinary growth of visible tent cities in very public areas, under overpasses, which we had seen in the past, but also one that really sets a lot of people off is a lot of the campsites that are on Lady Bird Lake, on the hike and bike trail, on Cesar Chavez, very noticeable locations where they have actually had people who may have come into town and are surprised about what they see, and this has been very concerning to them. It's gotten them concerned about Austin's image, and they're also concerned about just the general public health and safety concerns with that. But again, we're continuing to look at the latest numbers, Andrew. Right now we have early voting totals in, but yeah, Prop B has really been the big driver to the polls, and we'll see how much that mattered today for Election Day voting.
Kevin, I appreciate everything you've provided in the last little bit. We do have KXAN is calling Proposition F for failure. I'm sorry, let me try that again. KXA projection, Prop F fails, strong mayor, and I'm going to pull up the number here that we have. We're comfortable with this, 57% in, 87% against Proposition F. I know that this is what we've kind of expected from what we just have gone over in the last little bit with these numbers, but it has now been official. According to KXAN, we've decided that Prop F has failed to meet the mark. So, looking at some of these other numbers that we've gotten in, I went through the first couple, and I don't know if we want to bring in Daryl on this. Daryl Slusher with the Austin Independent. He's been great with Austin politics. Obviously, a former councilman that just knows so much about Austin politics and the landscape of it. And I know that he would provide a really good sounding board for what all this actually means. So give me 1 second to pull him in.
Yeah, we got Daryl waiting. And Daryl's helped KXAN really understand a lot of what the strong mayor proposition would mean for the city going forward. Someone who has been in some campaigns and some elections himself, and now on the outside watching how they play out. Do we have Daryl, Andrew?
We just got video. Daryl, if you'll unmute for us.
And there we go. Daryl, thanks so much for joining us. It's John and Andrew here in the KXAN live studio.
Happy to be here, y'all.
First of all, just your early reaction. A couple of weeks ago, we had a town hall about Proposition F. We've talked about Proposition B and the camping ban, what seems like every single day for the last year and a half. Now seeing the early results, it looks like Prop B is leading with still a lot of election day vote out there, and we have called Proposition F as a failure. The strong mayor proposal, your reaction to those numbers?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would say that even I know there's some other than the early vote has come in, but when you have something that lopsided in the early vote on either one of those, it's really impossible. I know you've been saying that long, but it's pretty impossible. So I don't think you're going to see any change. Maybe a few points, but not in the outcome on B or F. On the ones that are only in the 50% positive, possibly some change there, but I doubt it. So I think it's pretty set now. Then I think on F, the strong mayor, I just believe that people wanted to keep the system we had, and they, like Nico was saying, it's a wide diversion of people. You have the person who is the strongest advocate for years for more police, Mike Levy, and then you had defund the police people, all against the strong mayor. They're not going to they're not going to probably be on the same side on Monday, but they joined together here and said, keep our debating forum going. So I'm not surprised at all on that.
Hey, Daryl, let's talk a little bit about Proposition B and the reinstatement of the camping ban, or at least that push. Again, still early, and I'm going to take a quick peek at the Prop B results before I ask this question. Looks like we've got 63% for Prop B, 36% against Prop B. When we think about, and we're getting a feed here, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
It looks like we're hearing from the Travis County Clerk as she updates us on this election. Hold on, Daryl.
Thank you.
This is live TV, or I guess we'll call it live Facebook. We're doing our best either way.
My goodness, where are we finding that?
Where's Dana coming from?
Maybe we should just listen in. Pivot. I'm kidding.
And we're searching for the feed of where Dana DeBeauvoir, the Travis County Clerk, is coming from.
This is.
Hey, Andrew, do you want to throw up the quick break as we...
let's take a little quick break here.
Yeah, we're going to come right back, Daryl, and we'll have
anyway.
more election results for you here in a second once we find a way to mute the Travis County Clerk as we try to share those results. Thank you all. Give us a minute.
Apologize for that. We are back for the next. We'll keep going for the next 15, 20 minutes to give you the latest updates.
If we can,
as we're getting the numbers here.
barring any technical difficulties again, but we're trying our best. And I think we've got Daryl still. Daryl waited for us. So here's what we were talking about. We were talking about Proposition B, the camping ban, still very close, but a lead so far for the for Prop B crowd. Proposition F, we have called it here at KXAN. The strong mayor proposition has failed. Daryl, speaking specifically about Prop B, my colleague Kevin Clark posed this to the folks that are in favor of the camping ban. Is this an indictment on decisions that the city council and the mayor of Austin have made? Whichever way this goes, do you see this being that much of a statement on the actions of the city council and a quote unquote referendum on their approach to those experiencing homelessness?
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of truth to that. I believe it was clearly their policy. I mean, two of them, Tovo and Alter, voted against it originally, but I think this was a city council policy. It was clearly a failed policy, and the mayor admitted that. And it's really hard to mount a campaign for admittedly failed policy. So now what we have, but on the other hand, I would say this is not the type of election where you have a big election night victory party or celebration, because this is really a human tragedy to have those people out there on the street like that. I know y'all been talking about that, where are they going to go, and how the opposition was going to just get driven back into the forest or whatever, or the neighborhoods. And that's something I think the council needs to sort of humble themselves a little bit and work with the other side. I heard Mr. Makoviak earlier, and he was talking about he doesn't like their approach on this either. Well, hopefully that doesn't turn into another quagmire. Hopefully they can work together and try to solve this and find these folks a place to live. But I do think it's an indictment of the council. They thought they could solve homelessness alone on the local level, and it obviously didn't work out. They didn't even really seem to have a plan.
Well, and Daryl, you mentioned the admittedly failed policies. I think what you're referencing is some comments that we've had from Austin Mayor Steve Adler in recent months, saying our approach to homelessness has not worked the way we wanted it to. That was what he told me in an interview a couple of months back. And comments like those are what the Save Austin Now group really latched onto and said, look, the people that charted this course and really championed removal of the criminalization of public camping are saying we didn't do it the right way, and that became the core of this campaign. Does this come down to one group just formed a really good emotional campaign, or do you believe that this is really speaking to the will of Austin, that it agreeing with Austin Mayor Steve Adler that it is not working?
I think it's more the latter. I think you made a good point earlier when you were talking about the voters in Austin are really intelligent, they're really thoughtful, and they don't obviously all agree on everything. But I think what happened here is that people thought through this, and I think some of them that voted yes probably agreed there was a failed policy. I mean, they voted no, but they thought we don't want to send people back into the woods. But I think ultimately, it's like I saw, I think it was in Austonia, one of the citizens quoted said, there are rules in society. If you're going to live in a society, you have to follow some rules. And I think people just saw that this broke down. And even in a progressive town like Austin, there's enough people to say, no, we want to, we got to not have people sleeping in the parks, and we got to have some rules. And there was some violence associated with this, fires. There was just a lot of public safety problems, and that even in a progressive town, I think people are going to say, no, we're not going to go that far.
Some analysis from Daryl Slusher, a former Austin City Council member, and works now for the Austin Independent, providing us some analysis on these elections. Daryl, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, appreciate it, John.
All right, Daryl. And Andrew, again, going through some of these results, still very close with Proposition B the last time I checked, but it looks like some widening there as some Election Day vote is coming in. Can you run us through that?
I'm making some of the notes here as we go along for the 8 propositions in Austin. You touched on B there. 4 is at 64%,
wow.
And I'll get some graphics up so people can actually visually see that as well. But just to run through several of what we have, Proposition A, 80% are for.
That's the collective bargaining for firefighters.
Firefighters, yeah. And
right.
if you want to just kind of,
sure.
I'm just going to go down the list here.
Let's go ping pong.
Prop B we talked about 64% for. Prop C 57% for.
That's the oversight of the director of police oversight, removing that position, which is currently an employee of the city manager, to make that an employee of the city council, to have some separation there.
It's almost like I'm quizzing you here.
Yeah, I do have a cheat sheet. It's called kxan.com. I invite you all to go there as well.
kxan.com, of course, we have all the updates for every single result coming in, and I think we do have another one to call as well.
Okay.
Proposition D, 63% are for at this point.
Okay, that's an interesting one, and let's make. Did you get Daryl's audio down there? It looks like his Zoom is still open, so we'll mute him for a second.
Yeah.
Make sure he's muted there, Andrew. His icon is still up. There you go. Click the microphone. There we go. All right. Proposition D, yes, moving mayoral elections to the gubernatorial election years. From gubernatorial election years to presidential election years. So this was one of the items that Austinites for Progressive Reform were also pushing. So they were behind the strong mayor proposition, but also wanting to move the mayoral election to presidential years, which we know has much more turnout. So they had said that all of these propositions, the democracy dollars, which are vouchers for those for registered voters in Austin to give to political campaigns, as well as the additional city council seat, ranked choice voting, moving elections to presidential years, those were all supposed to be considered, sort of as one bundle from this group. And it appears that only a couple are faring well here early. But it does look like our mayoral elections will be moving to presidential election years, at least with that early vote count, albeit not a strong mayor. The strong mayor proposition F has failed according to our KXAN watch. So we have called that race. You can keep going down the list there.
All right, let's go to Proposition E here.
Okay.
That is 53% for.
Okay. Yeah, that's ranked choice voting. So that would eliminate the need for runoffs, which we have become so used to. The idea behind ranked choice voting was that save money by not having to run 2 elections, knock it out in one swoop. And that is still very narrow, as we only have 55% of the vote in. But yes, ranked choice voting doing well early on.
All right, so we'll skip over Prop F for now, which has been called. Prop G, 60% are against Prop G.
Okay, so this is where it gets kind of interesting, too. So I mentioned that this bundle of propositions that Austinites for Progressive Reform were pushing. If Proposition F, the strong mayor proposition, would have passed, and this additional city council seat, Proposition G, would have failed, then we would have had a potential stalemate on the Austin City Council, where we could have tie votes, and it gets problematic there, and then we have some potential gridlock there. I'm getting feedback, so I took out my earpiece there, Andrew. But it would have gotten really dicey if some of these propositions went different ways, and maybe one succeeded and the other didn't. Proposition F failing, the strong mayor proposition, it doesn't really matter that G. Frankly, it might be better that G also failed, because if we added another council seat but didn't have the strong mayor, we'd then also have gridlock. We could have the potential for tie votes. So right now it looks like F and G are both. F has been called against strong mayor, but it looks like the additional council seat is also losing, right? That's Proposition G, if you've got
Proposition
it.
G is 60% against at this
Okay,
point.
so that's failing too. And then
And
we
then
move.
Proposition H, you want to go to that one?
Yeah, that was interesting. So not a lot of publicity, not a lot of signs or billboards. You may have seen some signs start to pop up with Proposition H. This is the so-called democracy dollars. You see it there, Public Campaign Finance Program. The idea behind this is to give every registered voter in Austin 2 $25 vouchers to donate to a political campaign. The goal is to get money out of politics and to allow more people to launch campaigns, because essentially they're publicly funded. We have seen this model in Seattle, Washington, with mixed results. They are still trying to feel out if this is a positive gain with all the money that it costs for that city to fund democracy dollars. They haven't seen a lot of increased activism in voting. The voting numbers haven't changed that much, and there's still a lot of outside money in politics. We're seeing it in city elections too. And that was one of the knock on the strong mayor proposal. Maybe this fed into people's thinking that if you do have the most powerful person in your city elected, that means that person can get what, Andrew? Money, campaign finances, and that allows corporations and companies and private interests with a route to the most powerful person in the city through campaign donations. So that could have been a hit to it too. I don't know what one thing made that margin so wide, but people sure knew that they did not want a strong mayor.
Okay, we've got some. We're going to call some races in Gerald. This is Prop A, school building bonds. Let me pop up the numbers here. 75% for. Now, what does this actually do? If passed, it would issue $110 million in bonds to build a new elementary school, expand both the middle school and the high school. Money would also go to safety, security, and athletic facility improvements. That has been passed. That KXAN has called that one for 75%, 830 votes to 275. We've also got another one from Gerald coming in. This is Proposition B. Give me 1 second to get to my notes. It's like pulling 1,800 strings back here, and you have no idea. We need a camera on what I'm looking at in the background here.
I think people give us more leeway. We're on Facebook. This isn't.
That's right.
It's not live TV. We're all friends here. This is the living room chat kind of thing, fireside chat, right?
Here, let me pull up Prop B for Gerald. This has not been called. Let me clarify. Prop A has been called.
In Gerald.
In Gerald. Prop B in Gerald. In Gerald has not been called. We need to make sure with Prop B.
Don't get it twisted here. We're still waiting.
Prop B, that would put $1.7 million to expand seating, make other improvements at the district's stadium. 66%, 78% of the vote are in on that one. Let's see what else we got here from Georgetown. Georgetown Prop A. That is 68% are in favor of Proposition A in Georgetown, which would be a $90 million.
It's infrastructure.
Infrastructure, all roads, bridges, intersections. You know more about this?
I don't, but I can read at kxan.com.
There you go. That was good. That's
how you chime in to sound smart, and then when someone questions the intelligence, you retreat. And so I'll stick to my Austin propositions, but I'll help you along here.
And as we're talking about kxan.com, we've got everything you could need on KXAN.com with election results, voter totals. Let me pull up what we have here just for you to be able to see everything. If we're not providing information quick enough, you should just camp out on this for the next couple hours because they are updating it by the minute.
And look, this is what we're using too. It's not like we have some secret database or line to the election results that we're getting this before you. I'm looking at the same screen that Andrew has pulled up for you. And when we close out this stream in the next 4 minutes, keep locked on at kxan.com and then join us again later in the night. But this is where you're going to get the most up-to-date information, especially on Prop B, because I know that's why a lot of you are watching on Facebook. I'm reading the comments right now. It's clearly that is what got a lot of you to the polls. To keep with that most up-to-date information, stick there because that's where we're getting it to.
Okay. Everything kind of came in, of course, like we expected, but came in fast in the 7 o'clock hour. Overall impressions from the first hour. And then also, remember, we will be doing another hour-long live stream at 10 o'clock with a more finalized look at results with John Engel and with Kevin Clark.
Yeah, and we'll both have analysis at 9 and 10 on TV, too. So if you are at home and watching, feel free to tune in there. Obviously, instant reaction is the margin for Proposition B. The effort to reinstate the camping ban right now is what, nearly a 30% gap, Andrew? We anecdotally had been having conversations with both sides and a lot of people who know politics in Austin who were saying, gosh, it's going to be close. 2 to 3%, maybe 4 to 5%. It's going to be close. Each side confident about their own side. This is a much wider margin, and to the credit of the Save Austin Now camp, if these numbers hold, which again, our website showing 52% reporting, there's a lot of vote out there. If these numbers hold, that group that was pushing the effort to reinstate the camping ban was giving us estimates that looked a lot like this. Based on their internal numbers and sending us these emails. We don't say that in the run-up to elections because we don't want anyone to think that we are influencing your actions as voters to either keep you at home or galvanize you to do anything other than you were planning to do. But that is a pretty amazing total there for Prop B, 64% for. 36% against, 57% of that vote in. And again, the other reaction, Andrew, Proposition F, the Austin voters did not want to change the structure of government in Austin. The strong mayor proposal was the first to fail. It was the first race we called here at KXAN tonight, pretty early on in the stream. I believe we were doing this for about 15, 20 minutes. I hadn't even gotten through my spiel yet on what it meant. You're asking me what's next. Well, nothing's next. It fails. 87% of the vote against the strong mayor form of government, 13% for. That's what sticks out tonight, and I know that those two propositions is what was getting people to the polls, and it's clear that I was wrong in the run-up to this election in thinking that this could be a sleeper, that maybe people overlooked it, maybe people didn't check that box. They didn't get it. The strong voters in Austin are smart. They know what they're voting for, and I'm amazed by the engagement to know so much about such a nuanced topic like strong mayor for it to fail so resoundingly. I mean, if it passes like that margin, you start to question, okay, maybe people just clicked yes, they didn't know what it was or didn't care that much. This is a clear message that's not welcome here right now.
Be sure to stay with KXAN.com for the rest of your night. Just stay with us.
Stay with us. We're not going anywhere.
And of course, like we said, you'll have plenty of coverage at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock on KXAN News, and then we will be back here at 10 o'clock till 11 o'clock, breaking everything down. We'll also have some guests coming back to give us a better picture of exactly where we stand at that point. And I think this is a good spot to end it for now. Just looking at everything, just to recap, Prop F is in the books. That is the one race in Austin that we've called.
Yep.
Everything else still out there and still yet to be called. So stay with KXAN.com and stay with us for the rest of your night. Everyone, take care.